So let's talk about drum roll. Gambling. Okay, Muliana kwa title already. Yes. So gambling. Mimi, I just want to find out, how many times have you gambled, if you can count? Hello once again. Welcome back to our podcast, The Chambers Podcast. We're very excited to have you today. And today we have a new host on set. I'd want him to introduce himself, and then we can dive right into the topic.
Kwani mimi sioni hapa.
Hapana, wewe umezoea. Watu wamekuzoea. We need the new face.
Actually, introduce me, introduce.
Hapana. No, nothing. Sawa. Tell us.
So, hi everyone. Now I'm Kagiri Njoya. I'm new on set.
You're excited to be here. Uko na content.
Mbaya.
Mwombe kama
topic ya leo.
Mwombe kama jazi umevaa. Mwombe kama timu umevaa tu.
Hapana, unajua squeeze hawezi ongea sana.
Atuongei sana. Results zinaongea.
They speak for themselves. Very nice. So welcome back, people. Today we want to tackle, I feel like it's something that really needs to be discussed within especially the youth. Something that people are a part of. Some people are not ashamed to talk about it. People are ashamed to talk about it. But overall, it is something that's important. Yes, and we're going to definitely give the biblical and youthful perspective of things.
Yep.
So let's talk about drum roll. Gambling. Okay, Muliana kwa title already. Yes. So gambling. Mimi, I just want to find out, how many times have you gambled, if you can count? Where?
Ukisikia we?
Because
we? I say, hey, yeah, I think I don't think I can count.
You can't count.
I really I started gambling when I was still in Form 2.
In high school?
Yeah.
Who introduced you to it? Ama ilianza aje?
I think I picked it up from school. People used to gamble, people used to bet and everything, so.
Yani wenzako wanasoma.
And what form of gambling did you used to do?
I think I started it off betting.
Betting?
Yeah.
Able explain. People, what if someone doesn't
betting ups here, football.
Betika.
I didn't feel comfortable mentioning the names, but yeah, those are the lights.
All right. So football, mainly on football.
Yeah.
And you, how many times? Can you even count or give number?
I think for the guys. Say.
Ara nime gamble. So I started in high school.
High school form? Kama unaweza kumbuka form?
Form 3. Niliacha after, you see, when the government later restrictions, then taxation so some sites zikafungwa zenye tulikuwa tunatumia, tukapoteza morale.
But if aingefungwa bado ungekuwa mpaka leo.
Ungekuwa guru.
Morale ilikuwa inapanda kila siku.
But now the problem, you never get rich.
You never get rich. Hata tungekuwa tunakwenda.
Niko pale.
Hebu niulize, so which side pia ulikuwa unatumia football betting ama other forms of just football?
Yeah, football betting.
Mimi na siwezi sema niko na personal experience with gambling, to be honest. I think hiyo ni kitu for some reason. I never got in like I never got to interact with it, but when I was in campus is when I got to see someone actually gambling. Sasa yake haikuwa hii ya football ya kubet. I don't even remember the name of the platform, but it was a platform you put money, alafu kuna there's a way your odds increase depending on the number. So literally ni betting, ni kuweka bahati nasibu. So you're supposed to estimate inafaa kustop hii number. If it stops at that, if you press before it stops at the number, you get a number of times the amount you put in. But if you do it after, like if the number is 20 and you don't click before 20, pesa zako zinaenda zote.
That's a good deal.
Yeah. Like the thing is, the higher the number you put, for instance, ukistop at 5, utapata less money than if you stop at 15. So you'll always want to stop at a higher number so that you can get more money.
But now the problem is you can be cut, unaweza patikana ufungiwe nje, si ndio? Ukingoja like the number iende hapo, because it's reaching a certain number.
Yes, sasa si ndio, ukingoja sana pia we pia hivyo
unasema. Pesa yako inakunywa maji bwana.
Exactly. Na najua mtu ashaifanya hivyo akapata money in 5 digits. 5 digits begins at 10,000. Over 10,000 a number of times.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you call that guy the gambler?
Na pia kuna times ashaipoteza pesa mob. So I think it is a bit of both. Kuna times ujua alikuwa anasema he lost I don't know how much money, like a good amount of money, ndio akaanza kusema akona limit ya kufanya hizi vitu. Yeah. So I think and that was very recent. So till date people still do gambling. Hata kama si football, kuna kwanga very and other nanis. Unaweza sema what are the avenues of gambling?
Casinos, online casinos.
Lottery.
Akina huko nao.
Kuna hizi kulikuwa kitambo kulikuwa na hizi
tu raffle tickets.
Na mtu mnasemekana kushinda in the hundreds of thousands. Yeah.
Na I think most of our parents walikuwa enticed na hiyo kitu. Actually ukienda home, go talk to the parents around. Watakwambia kila mtu alijaribu, kila mtu alijaribu.
Ebo niulize, what would you say draws most people to gambling?
I think for me I'd say greed. Greed.
But unajua wewe unaweza sema you are drawn by greed.
In this sense that I wanted more. I wanted like I think you want something that you know you can't have right now, so you are rushing forward to get it.
Kuipata.
Yeah.
Me I think ni life. As in ukisota sana. Then upate ka avenue kanaweza kuletea domob.
But does it really even bring that enough that much money on
it?
So tuseme ni kama wewe ina balance. The pesa ukikompare pesa yenye utakuwa unatumia, tuseme kama leo nimewekelea so kuna siku moja jackpot itaivana. Ukule tu pesa yote umekuwa
wewe personally what's the highest stake you've received?
5k.
From hata usiniangalie.
From 600.
600.
Yeah.
And how much money had you lost by that time?
Ukisikia nasema ishara hawezi kuambia hiyo.
Na wewe
nilikuwa nimetumia 100
mara kadhaa.
Mara 1000.
So
now that's even more money.
I think for me I've had weird stories. I've heard of someone who I think but this was still in high school. I think that this is where I started hearing about betting. Do you know this guy who just came? I think this guy was so famous in school. Yes, kuna akasema aje, "Manze I have my friend bana. This guy bana alibet na school fee bana. Umsaliacha kusoma." I was like, okay. Umsalibet na school fee. Umsalipata juu milioni ngapi? And the problem is when you're always young, you always think at like hata nikupa sasa milioni moja. Hii pesa hata kupeleka hata mwaka moja honestly to be sincere that this money won't even. So is that me like umsalibet na school fee. After that hivyo. Akacha kusoma. I'm like yani kwa watu people are risking huku nje.
Alafu I think hiyo pesa huwa isaidii sana. I remember kuna umse alichukua jackpot ya SportPesa. Juzi tu alikuwa ameingia online. Changieni. Hata guy amekula over 100 million bana.
I think
I think people say easy come easy go. Like pesa ikikam hivi very fast. If you have not laid the right foundation in terms of spending money, even let me think about it like simply mtu akianza kufanya kazi na they've not been able to plan for the money vizuri. Money goes just as quickly. Just as fast.
Unaona mimi I think I used to see guys doing this. Like kwa jamaa umetoka hivi class umekuja and then there was this guy mpaka I think huyu jamaa mafufu alikuwa amemwaminia bana. Umsa alikuwa na predict mpaka sasa sema kama umsa naekelea leo bet kama ikili bana ni predictie tu. Umsa alikuwa class year that time manze tuko I think we were in form 2. Mafufu alikuwa anaamini umse. Like unaona sasa sisi guys used to come with phones in school. Kuja kugamble tu. People never I think watu kidogo sana kuja na simu shule so that waongeshe madem kwa shule zingine. Hapana, washakuja na simu shule. Ndio wasi wakuja wa gamble. So mtu alikuwa anakaa hivi chini.
Ukipenda biashara.
Ukipenda beza kwa anakaa hivi mpaka ikabidi mafomo kamtengenezea kona kwa kona bele kwa nalala. Wakamweka kwa kona. So because simu zilikuwa kwa kona. Sasa yakikaa hapo. Kaza kwa toekeni like that guy used to miss mara moja na miss na one game by one game.
But others
zinaingia. Unaona hata ile siku ya wiki zinaingia mpaka sasa unaona man this guy is good at betting ile is serious and then you follow it up mpaka I think he started making other guys wakaanza kuiko kitu until later I came to realize most people who are doing these things is from home pia like their parents there was this guy the dad mpaka msako anambia mimi budangu napatanga 100 G's kwa hii kitu like the dad aneka a lot of money like unapata the stake aneka ni mingi and then they return mpaka msako anambia mpaka the time akuja shule na kitabu budaka alikuwa analyze ati buda ndio kitabu budanga kwa analyze ndani like I'm like kama zako na nani za kukiona sasa si pia utakufa kwa hiki.
You'll grow up.
Another thing I came to realize, like unaona wewe unasema hizo do they never do anything. Unapata msemo kwa shule msema shinda hata 10,000 hakuna kitu like it's just
Sasa,
eating that
mimi hiyo 6k siwezi kwambia nini nilifanyia.
Wait, when?
Yeah, imagine alafu you can imagine 6k ukiwa high school. Hiyo ni pesa mingi
more.
sana. Hakuna kitu unafanyia.
you unatesa canteen.
So ni ile ulikuwa
Hivi tu.
unafika mahali apatana na mutura. Yaani impulse buying mutura nunulia mabeste smocha,
mostly
utakula
food.
smocha, utakula chukua. Azin unajua uko na pesa na unajua hata ikiisha tena kesho nitabet. You see? Na uba yake si guarantee ati utapata.
Yeah. Ebu niulize, would you say gambling is a sin?
Honestly, I don't know that much, but probably because I think most of the what can I say? Like most of the rules that God has given, I think it goes against most of them. Hard work, greed. So the moment sasa ufanye bidii buda utaka, and then it's so funny. Like you know, like right now there's someone who won 200 million, ndio the other day.
Hey, kijana ya campus.
Imagine
milioni 200.
Toka shule gani?
No,
tuendelee.
because you know your shule ni ya jokers. So, because you know
No.
No.
We're not getting into the right now.
Ati tunaambia wasome wakuje university.
wakuja kugamba kushinda mamilioni. Let me because it's so funny. But do you know I'm talking that one, and the other guy who won 200 million pale toka nini?
Hiyo shule.
No,
Yes.
No, it's funny, but I'll tell you, but it's this way. How long does it take for someone to win a jackpot? Like the period in between, if someone has won today, like before this guy won, the period in between, the last person alwin alikuwa nani? Sinde alikuwa the other guy malishina malikuwa
Alikaa sana.
who's it? The other Abisai ama nani?
No idea.
Yeah, the guy malishinda kutoka UN malishinda 200 million. The same person. See, take that how long ni kitambo. Now I think that now the problem most people peg the idea the reason why they're doing this on a peggy reasoning na. Manzi like unaona na kitu nafunga makomrade wengi macho. Unapata msao kama anasema ati ule msali alishinda 200 million.
Na ni mtu your age, unajua same circumstances.
So, no, it's worse when it's someone from campus. Maka unasemaje? Ama your friends wasemaje? Manzi tuko na tu mzee hapa.
So kama yeye alifanya na tulifanya.
And then semaje? Tuko na it's so funny because I had the story behind you were saying. Hiyo kitu ilikuwa inaingiana like walikuwa bet watu wengi. And then like they had analyzed watu wengi but yenda like but and then watu wengi also walikuwa wamekaa nao walikuwa wanajua alikuwa ameklai yo jackpot. So like ilikuwa zinaingiana wasio wanampiga maza zimeingiana so it means unapata mpaka walikuwa wamekaa nao wanasemaje manze
kama ni mimi
kama umse ameka tu tukiona na tulikuwa hapa tukimsaidia pesa sisi tunaweza so hebu nikuulize how many times do you think mabishto umse wameshindwa kijaribu because for them in their mind ile manze pia sisi haki it kills the idea of hard work hiyo inaenda kabisa.
Alafu hiyo story ya Adams ya discouraging hard work sijui kuna time yenye betting ilikuwa imeshika time yenye ulikuwa unanunua gazeti they photocopy it then you buy those two papers with odds 10 bob 10 bob ulikuwa unafika tuseme umeenda hapo center ushago unapata watu wamekiti hapo yani afanye kazi wako hivi tu ni kuchambua initiative unapata jioni ni tuseme mmoja wao tu alishinda hiyo siku yako umeshinda umewaste.
And then maybe just to add kimazo kidogo I think this thing the people who realize this early make a lot of money but at the same time I think it's a sin but because it's manipulation but if you realize what people want because unaona kabla yanasema ukienda ushago they always print this unaona when you guys can nintongaje access them online now someone goes and print it in a paper on a paper and then this guy comes and sells I think the last time I had those things were going for ilikuwa 40 shillings just a piece of paper a booklet amefungua ya games maybe half a season like for football the half of the season ameprint mpaka na odds do you know this guy sells them at 40 shillings and after ile inakuja kila siku 10 shillings and do you know a lot of people buy this thing imagine this just person ameenda amekaa chini kwa cyber he just prints and people are buying this thing
but okay this is on a very light note maybe that's a source of income for people
it's a source of income for someone who has realized it mapema
but unajua pia kuna watu wana manipulate wengine as in, like kama siku hizi you find there are some people wamefungua sites hao watakuwa wanachambua on your behalf.
Oh,
Then,
hey.
anakuzia odds na si guarantee
they're not
utashinda.
guaranteed.
Actually gets it.
Utamlipa lakini we ushinde ukose lazima umlipe.
I think that's where
I know.
greed comes in.
Yeah.
And then I can say that it goes to sometimes it goes to extreme circumstances. I have a friend that I actually know who start yake ilianza na casinos. Ameenda kimchezo, you know, the way you know I don't know, you okay, the one I've seen is the one where inazunguka unaenda like that. It's just said slowly by slowly it got to a point where it became a serious addiction. Ile he's been to rehab a number of times, anatoka and he ends up relapsing. Anajipata tu like it got to a point he couldn't hakuweza kukaa na kitu, anakaa na simu, anaenda anapatiana loan shark ili apewe pesa.
Wow.
And he can't recover back the phone. Like it became so bad. And then since gambling it ends up being like a place of continuous loss. Unaenda una expect upate pesa lakini hupati. It got really, really bad. Eventually, I really, really thank God. Like this was an answered prayer. He got out of it, and now he talks about it openly and talks about, you know, the madhara yake and how he even eventually got to get out of it. But I have seen how someone can go to the pits. You're not eating, you're losing weight, you're losing family, you're losing friends, because you know you're draining relationships as you go.
Yeah.
And I think the worst thing is sometimes you're just like, me I won't ever get there. Me yangu tu ni gambling ya nani ya bets, and it won't get there. But it's a slippery slope. Unaanzanga tu kidogo, but you never know how bad it gets until you're actually at that bad place.
I think
For me, my brother has done it. Ulikuwa unapata one time amepata 2k. Umse anaweka 2k yote bana. Ikiingia unapata. So mi nimesikia hadi stories mtu anacheza na 500,000 na itazama na bado anaendelea. Unashangaa what kind of addiction.
I think now I was just speaking from someone who was participating in this gambling. There's this feeling unakuanga nayo. Like unasemaje? Like you are so hopeful that are going the moment you find these people they're betting and they are gambling, the moment is anakle stake yake is 100% sure it's going to win. And then time like humane, like it does not go through and say next time.
And then
there's that
you
hope.
always think that maybe it's this time makosa yangu ndio ilikuwa na nilijua ningeweka kwa hiyo game.
But then nakwangaje?
Nakwangaje? Umebakisha kamoja tu ndo kamekuangusha.
Unasemaje? Niliongeza hii.
Si ni kamoja tu. Kesho.
But then unasemaje? Niliongeza tu moja. Niliongeza tu ile time nafikiria nikaongeza mwisho. Like it's I don't know, it's something that you are always hooked on, and it's I think that thing is spiritual, honestly. I don't know how to explain it, but I think there's because
spiritual aspect.
Because the moment you start getting into it, like like you're testing the waters kidogo. Wewe ukishtuka unajipata umeingia huko ndani. Like you are just going,
I can tell you your stuff tukiwa shule high school ilifika point hadi kuna msee sasa alikuwa na nikaa kampuni yake. So the guy alikuwa anachambua games, anaweka odds zake. So you people mna bet na yeye. So mnakuja mnampe pesa nini ikiingia anakupea pesa. So kuna hii time kiliumana side yake. Everyone zake zote zinaingia, ana pesa ya kuwarudishia. Hii story ilifika kwa deputy, my friend. Tulinyoroshwa bwana. Kila mtu mwenye ushainvest na yeye akuja vita tuliwekwa.
But I think at the same time it's so hard in this sense. Okay, you might find someone is business minded. It's a good thing because I've seen the same thing. And those guys were in high school too, making money. You know, it was just a group of people. Also, they came together wakashikana because they were from home, they were being given a lot of money. I don't know, I decide why like from their own money they are paying people. Do you know they made a lot of money? Wameka hivi tu. Na wakafanyia nini hizo pesa? It's mostly the food, clothing na madem.
Sio ukifika canteen uenda kusema.
Man, I'm telling you. And then the one thing the problem with gambling now it's like I think now it becomes a sin in this sense. You might find you are doing it for you it's beneficial. You might find you are a Christian you're doing it's beneficial and you're doing it responsibly. So I'm gambling responsibly. But now the problem is there's someone who's watching you, a Christian, someone who's young in faith. And then msana wanatu unafanya hivi. And this guy the moment he gets into that thing, he gets hooked, but he's not making that money.
But let me ask you, is there a responsible way of gambling?
No,
honestly?
I don't think there's a responsible way.
Because I think why I would say gambling is wrong is because it ends up rather it is built on other sins. So like it ends up building on various sins. For instance, most times if you're doing gambling, it's because you want to get money, easy money.
Yeah.
See, so that you don't have to. So it doesn't build on hard work, as God really encourages. Kitu ingine is you end up, sometimes it might come from a point of greed, just like you said. You want what other people have or coveting what someone else has. Unaona besti yako kona viatu zinaka fiti and you know you cannot afford. Wewe uko na pesa zako, you're like, you know what, nikiweka hii pesa kwa gambling or you bet somewhere, you can be able to get the money.
Pesa ya viatu na socks.
Exactly.
I think another
so because of you coveting is a sin. That's what leads you to the gambling, and I think in that way that's how it becomes a sin.
Unatamani life ya watu wengine. I think hata in campus I've heard of sort of someone who this guy used to like ana bet ndio apige sherehe. And this guy used to have, like anaenda na kopatala, like he collects dates from different places and a bet ikiumana ako sawa, and then anaenda na kopa ikiumana. You know what he does? He just goes and buys nini mzinga hizo madrinks hapo naika kukunywa tu na kupati na madem tu. So for him that money even, like this guy
haimsaidii
like imefika mahali, so this betting inamsaidia sasa ku maintain ku manage lifestyle yake ya nini drug and substance abuse.
Yeah.
Like because in constant.
Another why I would call it a sin ni the outcome of gambling.
Yeah.
You see, witness so many cases ya suicide.
Hey.
Oh yeah.
Unapata msee alikuwa ameweka sijui pesa ngapi, imechomeka na ndo ilikuwa ilipe nini, maybe nilikuwa nimechukua loan nikidhani hii game lazima iingie, alafu inakuangusha. Msee anafanya nini?
Sure bet hiyo moja.
Asubuhi ako kwa habari. Kijana
Yeah.
mmoja.
I'm maisikia msee like atimsa sema, and I think most people like giving this to that I was drunk. Unasikia msee amekelea do mingi, anaanza amekelea game moja. And then later unasikia anapiga hiyo betting company, ati manze nilikuwa nimelewa. Bro uko umelewa. Wewe ulikuwa una expect tu kuja igia vizuri. Kuna ingiani.
Yeah. So like the results of it, and I don't know, you guys tell me, have you ever heard of someone mtu anaweza sema ati me I bet so that I can get money and do good things out of it?
Trust me,
nipiane tithe offering kanisani.
Trust me, and the moment you start asking about those things, there are a lot of people will come out and they'll tell you. In fact, I'm pretty sure there are people who are doing that, and they have like people. They always claim. But now the problem is, out of 10 of people who are gambling, it's only one person who's living that life. It's only one person who's making a living out of gambling. And people don't understand that. And this one person. Like humse mmoja ana convince hawa wengine like
that
he leads on hours. So unaona humse anasema aje utampata, for him he gambles zinaingiana, he's living this nice lifestyle, hata anakuja chacha anatoa ni sadaka, anasema hata anapeana hiyo tithe. The moment he does that kuisha
ameconvince watu wote bana.
Unapata wanasemanga je moja ikaribika,
kimoja kikioza.
Unajua watu wanasemanga that they are the exception. No, okay, rather they are mtu akisema if so and so can do it, so can I think that's really the problem. Tukionanga one person, the exception not the rule. Like normally not everyone gets best good profits, but this one exception where when do unaangalia the exception and not the rule, unasema this is what I want, this
it's
is
so bad. I think that's the your part inakuja where you are sinning in this sense that you are making someone else to sin because of your actions.
And I might be wrong in saying this, and like it might come from not an informed place, but my question is, do you think who is the majority of the people who bet?
The youth.
The people who necessarily don't have much.
No, but okay, it's the youth.
Majority.
But it's the people who don't have that much.
The people who don't have that much.
I think I've heard stories of mama mbogas. Because I think this story is so funny. There's this time one of them mama mbogas alishinda, and then she akushinda do mingi. Okay, for her it's 1 million, 1 point something M. That's a lot of money. And then so the problem is, imagine nyinyi tumekaa tunauzana ninyi kwa hii line tu. Imagine we're just 10 people in this line whom we are selling kwa vibandas, and then unasikia tu this person alishinda mita 1 million. And unataka kuniambia si ile atasema aje hatutaanza. And then she's like, I will just use 20. And then betting is so funny. 20 shillings, 10 shillings. Chovia nakwambia aje ukitaka kubet your jackpot unatoa so. But no, if you can bet with as little as little as 20. You know, to people wanasema aje I can kila siku nilikuwa napata 20 shillings 20 shillings too, but that compound interest now just calculate 20 shillings every day in a year. How much and then uone hiyo pesa and then after wa calculate umeshinda ngapi, have you umecompensate pesa umeshinda ama you know it's it's simple math.
Hata kuna hizi za radio stations, the ones that they tell you send 50 bob alafu utapata mshindi. I imagine across the country the number of people sending.
That's what I'm telling you, someone is making money
a
out
lot,
of your greed.
a lot.
Someone is benefiting out of your greed.
And taking advantage of that.
Simple.
Actually.
I don't know if that's a sin, but I think at the same time that's punishment for you being silly and honestly, no, because I came to realize, I think someone analyzed your story radio and how people are always earning that money. You know, I think when umsali calculator akasema this radio unapatanga kuna ile morning stations, unapatanga hata hiyo morning session hiyo from 6 to 10. There's some radios was ana almost at 100 m to clean money.
Hivyo tu.
And then out of that 100 m wanapeana 100,000.
I know.
And because you're stupid. I think they always say I'd want to have that your mind and because I want to pay hiyo nikipata yako because if you are so gullible and you're so stupid, because you're working so hard for this little money that you have, but at the same time you don't want to be intelligent and like just be honest with yourself
and do the work.
Yeah, and the thing is, and they've worked for this little money that they're having, but they don't want to be like I don't know, this is what is important, but you know, like hiyo pesa yako umeipata ndio, you don't have to be diligent.
True.
Hiyo pesa kidogo, like umepata hiyo, that money, the amount of that umepata, you need to work, like you have bills, you have the responsibilities that you need, because most people who bet, they always bet before they make this responsibility.
Kwa sababu wanasema wakibeti hiyo pesa ndio
hiyo ndio italipa hiyo.
I think
you never get that.
Hata campus nimesikia hapa campus people are betting. Yeah, high school kwa sema the people in campus here they're betting with their school fees.
Yeah. Actually hata mimi najua mtu
anatoka makamasi machozi.
Na hairudi.
Hairudi.
Hata kuna hizi zenye ukipita on the streets unaona watu wana streets inaitwanga nini like groups people stand and then you're told to weka pesa.
Karata.
Okay, you look, they give you such a simple thing. Wanakwambia eka nani ways that either wateka cups alafu kwambia pesa whatever is iko chini ya which cup. Wana shuffle tu hivi kidogo kidogo.
Na ukipita hapo anakwanga ameattract crowd kubwa.
Na kuna watu wengi.
That's what they always say. I think that's the more reason to now to see it from this point. God really values hard work. If you don't work hard, most watu wanaenda pansa but tumegonga. Mbona mnagongwa? And why is it that these guys are always here and there are people who always listen, like there are people who always hear these stories more. Like mtu amesikia story mara mingi, watu wajipata tu hapo. Why is it that way?
Alafu umeongelea radio station nikakumbuka azin. Ushaiona wenye wamebahatika wakashinda mse huwa anaishi na insecurities hata anapigiwa anaambiwa kujia pesa yako lakini hataki juu anajua wewe kama unaishi Ngara bro utarudi Ngara na
utafanya mbaya
umetoka na mita utarudi Ngara
hapana
hata so unapatanga hata yeye anaogopa yani maisha yake tu anaishi na uoga.
But then you've talked about radios and then you've talked about going for that present or for that reward and then I've remembered some, you know, this gate will someone akizo umsema baka nakumbuka. So this guy alikuwa na high school. This guy in fact when I was in form 4 this guy was in form 3. Alikuwa anasumbua shule. This guy alikuwa anasumbua. Siku tumekaa tu hivi I was sad tumejoin sasa first year tumekaa tu. And then tumekaa hivi kidogo. Tuko group ya Daro someone sends a post from Facebook. This guy has won a car. I'm saying, you know, I was like that equal betting. I think there was a program ilikuwa imeanzishwa betting. I think it's you unaweka kidogo ngapi and then the highest order and then you win. And this guy is there. You know, hiyo kitu ililikula. And I think so just from seeing how people responded on that nini your post people were like manzi umse alikuwa anasoma and then the guy akupita people were like manzi umse apata do hapa mimi naweza pata gari umse apata gari kwa hiyo manzi let's imagine this thing has just spiked the mental note of people like what's someone like pia mimi naweza
kama huyu anaweza
mimi ni nani
hebu niwaulize I think we can refer to let's say if you know someone who's struggling with betting what would you tell them how can you help them get out of it especially tuseme I think there are different levels to it mtu mwenye ameanza tu na anasema this is for fun kuna mtu mwingine mwenye amekolea sasa it is something they sort of depend on and then there's someone who's now seriously addicted what would you tell these people?
I think for me as in you just try and invest. As in hii pesa ya patapotea hii, as in
Itapotea.
you itapotea eventually.
Uh-huh.
As in you go to angalia wase wenye wote ubet, mwambie ni muulize ni kubwa ashaifanya na hiyo pesa. Actually niulize mimi nimebet. Siwezi kuambia unajua high school 6k venye ilikuwa mingi. As in, lakini unachanga hiyo pesa unajaribu kukumbuka. Kuna hata kiatu yenyewe sikununua nini. But tuseme kama ni investment, alafu kama tuseme kama ni investment, kuna ile motisha. Leo lazima niamke. Leo kuna niko na goal. Unaona? As in utakuwa unachangamka tu. And I think that's what God rewards. As in Mungu akiona unajituma nini. Lazima ata reward eventually.
Hey, I think now just umongea mambo yo investing and everything. Now you know I think a good example you can tell people who are betting or gambling there are people who are rich, who have been rich and they have gotten into gambling and they have all wealth. Yes. It has just gone to zero. Have you heard of these stories of people, someone who was so rich, someone who was so wealthy, and then in a matter of time too,
within no time
it just goes, and then the moment it withers, there's no going back. The moment we have just crossed that line, it inaenda ukienda. Hey, for me one thing I can tell someone, because gambling, like any other addiction, is just like gambling is just an addiction, like any other addiction.
It's like a sickness.
It's an addiction too.
Yeah.
It's a simple simple word. It's an addiction. And addiction. How do you cure addictions? One thing that I came to realize, most of us we struggle with addictions. You want to ask God to give you power or to give you control over it, and that's not how God works. Honestly, this is one thing I came to realize later. I see later. I think I've realized this lately. Like God can never give you this power over something over an addiction or something that's really, really troubling you. I think the only reason, because if it was for you to change yourself, like if it is for God to give you strength, Mungu amekupa strength in how many aspects of your life, how many things in your life can you control? Same vitu mingi sana. If it was for that, Mungu amekupa like, but when it comes to addiction, I think the only thing you can ask God is, man, God, I'm struggling with this thing. Na hapa nimefika like it's bad. Hata kama umefika huko mwisho, tell God to change you. God is the only one who can. But it's so simple, but ask God to change you. Tell him, God, I can't change myself.
Alafu, to refer on what you are saying, there's this verse from Hebrews chapter 13 verses 5. Nasema, don't love money, be satisfied with what you have, for God has said, I'll never fail you, I'll never abandon you. So wewe nikaa unajaribu kutishatisha Mungu, namwambia
unataka kuchukua kazi ya Mungu.
Bana.
Unataka kunyang'anya Mungu kazi, Mungu anakuona tu jamii.
Nakwambia mtu wangu, mimi ndo nilikuumba na kujali, siwezi kuangusha.
Relax.
Sasa wewe
I think that's one of the it seems like a punishment. I don't know.
Yeah, trust God.
Because if you don't trust God, the moment you start trusting on yourself.
That's true, actually. Nika, you want to take control over things and say, me, I can provide for myself, I can do this, let me gamble, with my own abilities.
Yeah.
I think something else I would say, there's a verse we're discussing earlier, I think 1 Corinthians, that says everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial.
Yeah.
Permissible is acceptable. It's fine. Mtu anaweza sema you can do this, you can do that, but how does it benefit you? How does it benefit you? How does it affect you and your family? And like you said, if you are that place, you're deep in it and you're just struggling, how can I get out? Honestly, rely on God. Something I think one learns either with addictions is sometimes it's hard to say, I'm going to remove this thing.
Yeah.
Removing it, unaacha akagap. But the question is, what are you going to replace it with? Exactly. So you can either replace it with intentional studying and reading of God's word. I know sometimes it seems so hard and so far-fetched, but me, from my personal experience, there was a time I was in a really, really bad state. I wasn't in a place to necessarily read the word. Or unajua venye unasema unaweza read na understand na you have joy and from reading. I was in a really bad state, but I just started by just reading and reading commentaries, trying to understand, get at least one thing and be consistent. Kesho fanya rudia. And I feel like over time you start getting to see, you start getting to, like, there's a refreshing, a renewal, a joy that comes out of actually studying and spending time with God. And as you do that, to some extent, there are those it helps. If you need to seek help, be it therapy, be it finding a community of people who've struggled the same thing and walking with them, do so. Do whatever it takes to get out of it. I feel like below will get consent, but will refer you. I know someone who has walked the path of gambling addiction and has gotten out of it. And they are very willing and ready to talk and work with someone. So if you're there, probably will be able to share their contacts and be able to see how you can reach them.
I think that's the good thing.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about all these stories. Whatever you're always struggling with,
Hugo peke
there's
yako,
always one person who made. In fact, not even one person. There's always someone
who's been there,
who's
done
been
that.
there,
Na
done
akatoboa.
that, and came out of that place successfully. And but then the moment you start listening to their stories, you think, man, I'm going through worse. No, their stories now, they are worse than what you are going through. So don't ever lose hope.
Let's read a couple of verses. 1 Timothy 6:9-10. I'll just read the end. It says, okay, I want to answer to those who want to get rich fall into temptation and are trapped and into many foolish and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with very many griefs. Like the love for money and being able to just, okay, money is good, but if you love it to the extreme, it's going to lead to ruin. Even Romans 12:2 says, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. God's good, pleasing, and perfect will cannot be for you to go into ruin, which the love of money can lead to. Yeah. So you be conformed. Do not conform. Everyone else might be doing it, but you don't have to do it. Yeah. So I think that's it from me. Anyone with a parting shot? I'm a Tusha part shot.
The parting shot. This is just food for thought. Even for those who are making money out of it, and maybe most of them I don't know if they always feel guilty or what, but I've ever imagined, and I know even most people who run these betting companies, they know it. Most people who participate in betting, they're always I think a good number of them, they're always under 18. And what do they say? Gambling is for people who are 18 years
And
old.
above.
And I'm trying to imagine when I was still in high school, those years back, people used to participate in that thing. There were people, youngsters. So I think gambling, I think just looking at it from this sense, it just breaks the rule. Like it goes on, I think breaking the rules that have been set there. And what the Bible says about the rules. Respect the rules. Simple too. But you know what? If you're in there, it's okay.
Get out now.
No,
It's okay.
It's okay. It's fine. Because uko ndani tayari.
Oh, like, yeah, but it's okay, but get out.
But it's time.
It's time.
It's time. Because imagine that umejua saizi. There's someone who hakujua saizi, but umejua saizi. It's time to run, my friend. Run. Run to the Lord. Asanteni sana.
I think for me ni venye tu Bible imesema. Mungu hawezi kuacha jameni. Atalipa hard work. So as in, no matter what you are going through, umesota nini, lakini unaona hii 10 bob inaweza nipe 100. Yes, inaweza kupe 100 lakini si guarantee. Unaweza weka hiyo 10 bob ipotee, ubaki sasa zero. So as in, tungengane man. Mungu hawezi tuacha.
Enda mjengo.
Bye.
Au siende mjengo. Mjengo leo kwa nguvu. You know what, guys? Thank you so much for being with us. We are so happy to have you guys.
Yes, as usual, subscribe, like, forward, share, and let us know your thoughts on gambling.
Naka ushai gamble tuambie experience.
Yeah, tell us your experience.
Na kama umeshinda hata milioni 1 tuambie.
Hakuna. Wenye kula mamita tunawajua.
That's it from us. God bless you. Bye.